I don't know how many times I'm going to watch that before I stop smiling. That intro, I love that. I love our little dancing panda. That's the best. So, greetings and welcome. This is New Thought Media Network, and I'm Ken Ludwig, and this is the Vibrant Living Hour, a show about living your best life. It's a show about how do we learn to to grow into ourselves, to just become that best version of us that we possibly can, growing old in a graceful fashion, growing older, not getting old, growing older. Um, just I truly believe that it's a thing that we need to maybe address in this country more than other places, because we so often look at um, growing older as an ailment in this country. It's something to be avoided. And we're going to talk today about the idea of healthy aging versus anti aging, which in my world doesn't exist. Hope you're enjoying your day. Hope you are. This broadcast finds you safe, healthy, and happy, and just thriving in everything that you're endeavoring to do in this world. It is an interesting time in history for sure. And, I've said before, I said this a lot in my life. There's an old Chinese saying, may you live in interesting times. And I have always said that depending on your perspective and what's going on in your world right now, may you live in interesting times could either be a blessing or a curse. Right now, I think that's almost a minute to minute thing in the world we live in. It's either a blessing or a curse, because we certainly live in interesting times. Depends on how interesting everything is for you and whether or not it's unfolding to your liking or otherwise. So, got my cup of coffee here today. Last minute cup of coffee. Almost made me late for the show, but I have a little last minute cup of coffee. I don't know why I don't drink coffee during the week in the afternoons. I drink lots of coffee in the morning. I don't drink it in the afternoons, except when I'm doing the show. And I think I don't know. It's now become a thing. So the my idea on this show is to have it be totally interactive. I want you to be participatory in this show, however you wish to do that. If you join me on the show, if you watch the show at all, give me comments, give me thoughts, give me ideas, give me questions that you want answered. Let me know what it is that you would truly like to have me address from the standpoint of vibrant living, because I'm more than happy to do that. I'm thrilled to do that, in fact. So, as I mentioned, today we're going to talk about healthy aging versus anti-aging. And as I mentioned, I don't believe that there's such a thing as anti-aging. It's almost to me an oxymoron. You can be anti-aging as much as you want, but it's the equivalent of being anti-gravity, because aging doesn't care, just like gravity doesn't care what you do to prevent it, because you can't. You may be able to do some of the things we're going to talk about today to slow the process down so you don't experience any premature aging or premature disease or those kinds of things. That's all about things we've talked about many, many times in the past, about the different pathways, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, that you can take to make sure that you are flooding your body with the most positive chemicals and reactions that you possibly can, the most positive firings, if you will, or expressions of your DNA, of your genetics, so that you are living the healthiest you can possibly be, whatever age you are, 20, 30, 40, 70, 80, I don't care. Doesn't matter. My idea is that something I took from the book Growing Bolder. I want to experience a compressed morbidity, meaning that at the end of my life, I want to live vibrantly, healthy, alive, flexible, strong, willing, doing whatever I want to do until right up until the very end. I want to skip the hospitalization. I want to skip the decrepitude. I want to skip the drugs. I want to skip the medications. I want to skip the time on television, on the couch watching TV. I want to skip all that. I want to just be vibrantly alive until the very end. That's compressed morbidity. And I think that's probably my biggest goal, even though I don't really express things that way all the time, but it's my biggest goal in life. I'm 70 years old at this point, and I truly am looking forward to living well into my 90s in a very healthy fashion. And I think that can be done. And by the way, it's not necessarily my family history. I got a couple of people on my mother's side of the family, one of which was her older sister, so that's pretty close to me. And then their grandfather also lived. They both lived into their early 90s. I'd like to surpass them both. Not the history of my family, by the way. On my paternal side, my grandfather died at 74. My father died at 72, and my father was way healthier than my grandfather, but he got a condition that destroyed his lungs. I always maintain it was from 40 years or however many years it was of him traveling from Long Island into New York City on the train, and then more importantly, the subway. That was just, the New York City subway system, as amazing as it is for getting you from point A to point B, it's also not exactly the healthiest environment in the world. And I think that affected my father. Also living in, living and working in the city. He lived in the city when he was a kid, but working in the city his whole adult life. New York City didn't always have the healthiest air quality either. So whatever the contributory factors were, he got a thing that was called interstitial lung disease. Interstitial lung disease is kind of it's kind of a heading that includes lots of other things. But the bottom line is it is the progressive deterioration of the ability of your lungs to get get wow, there's a Freudian slip of some kind. Get oxygen into your bloodstream. That's pretty funny. So my goal is to surpass all of them. I talked to one of my brothers the other day who's several years younger than me. He's the fourth child in our family of, I'm the oldest of 9 children. And I said to him, I expect to outlive all of you. And he said to me, I believe you. So that's my goal. And I at least have one brother who's agreeing with me that he thinks it's true. The idea that we can slow down the progress of aging. We can't stop aging. You're going to age. It's something we all have in common. From the moment you take that very first breath, you are aging, and you will continue to age to the end, till you take your last breath. And aging is really, it's a privilege. It's the we're going to talk about the Ayurvedic tradition here, where aging is really a function. It's a natural phenomenon of the continuation of life. It's a good thing, because think about the people that you've known in your life who didn't get to age, didn't get to grow older, or they just got old and went, quotes, prematurely. That's another little thing I have. There's, people always say he or she or they died so young. Well, I don't think that's true. I think they died exactly when they were supposed to die, exactly when that the part of them that animates them, that spirit, that soul, that God stuff that animates each and every one of us, it knew when its time here as a human was over, and it just was time to leave. And I also believe that it doesn't care how it leaves. It doesn't care if it gets hit by a bus or cancer or struck by lightning or COVID-19 or whatever it is. When it's time to go, the part of us that animates us knows whether we do or not. So that's just, just a little a side note from me. But the interesting piece to that from my perspective is we never question when someone was born. We never say they were born too early. God, they were born too young. Oh, we're all born pretty young. But we always question when they die. Not always, but too often we question when they die, especially when it's a younger person. That's always the hardest for me and everybody else to digest, is that when that younger person dies, that person in their 20s, or that person in their teens, or even a small child, which is just, it's always heartbreaking. But that God consciousness that was or is them, that little individuation of consciousness, that was here for the period of time it was here, for whatever reason it was here, and that's not necessarily for us to know or to question. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it goes down. So back to the idea of slowing it down, if you will. There was a study that a friend of mine pointed out to me. It's from the Journal of Aging, It was a group of people from, I believe, 56 to 72. They studied them over whatever period of time, and um, came up with some interesting thought processes here, or interesting functions here. There are 5 things that we can do, and I'm telling you, these 5 things couldn't be any simpler. But there's 5 things that we can do, each and every one of us, every day of our lives, that will literally turn back your genetic clock. Now, I'm not sure exactly what that means to me, but it will slow down the progressive firing of your DNA towards growing older, towards aging. Now, you can slow that down. You can't stop it, but you might be able to slow it down. And they say that doing these particular things for just 8 weeks will slow down or turn back your clock by 3 years. That's pretty extraordinary. Piece in my mind is, though, that this is an interesting piece. So you turn back your genetic clock by 3 years. And let's project something out here. This is I don't think this is how it all works, but just in case this is something that occurs to you, because it's just occurring to me. But suppose, in the great scheme of things, you are going to die at 85 years old. And in your 50s, you get this information here that I'm going to get to you from the Journal of Aging about these 5 things you can do. And you start doing them, you start making them your way of life. And you turn back your genetic clock by, let's say it's right, by 3 years. Every so often you do that. And over time, that's not adding life to the end of that's not adding days to the end of your life. What that is doing is adding life to the days that you're living right now. So you may not look as old. You may not feel as old or act as old. You may be physically more fit or more active than maybe other people in that age bracket. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to live longer. It just means you're going to live better. And that's, my idea is live healthier longer. I know I can see this is really funny. I only noticed this a couple of weeks ago, but I can see that there's a couple of people watching. If you're watching and you want to make a comment or just say hi, I would love to know you're out there. And as I talk, as I tell you whatever I've got on my mind today, I would love to hear your reactions and your responses and what your thoughts are, or any interesting pieces of it that occur to you. So if you're watching, if you're looking at the show, please make a comment here in the comment section. I would love that. I would love to hear what you have to say in the chat. So here are the 5 things you can do every single day. And if you do these things, this will turn back your genetic clock. So one of the ones that I find really, well, not one, they're all very interesting, but the first one on the list is eat fermented foods. The evidence of the benefit of fermented foods, particularly on your gut, is extraordinary. Now, fermented foods can be all kinds of different things. You can do sauerkraut. You can do tempeh. You can do certain kinds of kombucha. You got to be careful with kombucha because you got to watch for the sugar contents in kombucha. But yogurt is, of course, a great one. What else did I have that I wrote down here? There's so many great kimchi, so many great fermented foods. Fermented foods do lots of different things in your body, but I think the most important one from my perspective is they're incredibly good for your gut health. People who have worked in what I can only call the medical fields for centuries, literally centuries. We're talking about a healthy gut at the beginning of just any consciousness of medicine, or medical practice, or health practice, whatever the hell they called it 2 centuries ago, 10 centuries ago, 2 eons ago. They talked about gut health being the secret to being a healthy person. Now, I can tell you from my own personal experience that when my gut doesn't feel right, and over the last few years, I've become very much in touch with my gut health and how it's working, because I've had some issues with GERD and those kinds and crazy stuff like that. But what I have discovered is I can tell when my gut is out of whack. And when it is, I know I'm not feeling or even performing at the top of my game. So, number 1 on the list, fermented foods. Eat fermented foods. The next one is a favorite, cruciferous veggies. Cruciferous veggies are broccoli, cauliflower, kale, bok choy, Brussels sprouts. And actually, what you really want to kind of lean into is 2 or 3 servings of them per day. I know my beloved Lisa and I, we eat more broccoli now than I have ever eaten in my entire life. Comes as a direct result of a friendship with a good buddy of mine that some people who watch the show may know, Dr. James Rouse, who's a fantastic homeopathic doctor, a practitioner of Chinese medicine. A He is what God. James is a certified yoga instructor. He's an amazing nutritional formulator, and he has been studying things that I studied. He's been studying the endocannabinoid system since it first was discovered in the early 1990s. He's been studying it before any of the rest of us ever even heard of it. He's been studying it. So he's a world class natural nutritional expert. Excuse me, and a direct result of my relationship with him, my beloved Lisa and I, our friendship with he and his wife, has resulted in us just eating more broccoli. It's that simple, and kale and these other crucifers. I want to make sure that I mentioned the ones that I had written down here, and I did cabbage is another one. But all those things, I mean, they're really, the funny thing is to me, for the most part, they're really easily prepared. Also, you steam them or lightly boil them, and they're done. You can roast most of them as well, but a little hot in this time of year to be roasting stuff. Just steam it for 5 minutes, and you've got this great healthy meal that is nothing but good for your entire body. So that's number 2. Number 3 on the list is going to be a 20-minute walk. Walking is just one of these amazing things that it keeps you healthy. It keeps your core muscles taut, if you will, or stronger, which helps to keep us upright. You see so many people that are, as they're getting older, they start to lean forward, and they get maybe a little hump in the back of their neck, and their shoulders start to slouch. That's all your core muscles deteriorating, and you really need to strengthen them. And a good 20-minute walk is one way to do it. Now, this study said that you should maybe do this walk in more of an interval style. What it means by that is maybe do 5 minutes of a normal walk, then 5 minutes, or maybe even make it shorter than that, 2 minutes to 3 minutes of a normal walk, then 2 or 3 minutes of a fast pace, 2 or 3 minutes normal, 2 or 3 minutes fast, turn around, head the other direction, do the exact same thing. So that you are speeding up your heart rate and slowing down, speeding up your heart rate and slowing down. There's all kinds of evidence that any kind of interval training where you're doing that speeding up and slowing down thing is immensely beneficial to your cardiovascular system. But when you're doing the walk, you're not only doing the cardiovascular, you're also doing, as I said, your core muscles, really helping your lung capacity, just feeling better, man, just feeling good. So that 20-minute walk. Now, just from my own personal experience, now the weather here in Colorado has been very strange in that we have had temperatures in the low to mid 90s, and we have had an air quality that is in the unhealthy range. And at the very best, it's at the really lousy end of moderate, which is, I think they divide it up as anything up to the level of, however they calibrate it, of 50 is good, from 50 to 100 is moderate, over 100 to whatever is unhealthy for sensitive groups, and then at a certain point it becomes unhealthy for everybody. Well, in the moderate range, from 50 to 100, when we start getting up into the 90s, that's just simply not healthy either. So what that has done, basically, it has prevented my beloved Lisa and I from doing a lot of our walking. We usually do a 40 to an hour minute walk several times a day, and just the more walking you do, the healthier you're going to be, the healthier you're going to find yourself. This is very, very, very interesting here. I got Linda Plasters here on the line. I don't know if your last name is Plasters or if that's what you do. Maybe you're are you a drywaller, Linda? But she just says that Dr. James Rouse had spoke at a nursing conference that she attended, and he's one of the best speakers. He was one of the best speakers by far on that particular day, and he ties it all together. And I can tell you from my 15-year friendship with James that he is incredibly good at that. He knows his stuff. He knows what he's talking about. And I get lots and lots and lots of great information from him. And basically he's the one that turned me on to this Journal of Aging study here that we're talking about right now. So there's the walk. So then the next thing on the list is 10 minutes of nose breathing every day. Nose breathing is breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your nose, but breathing all the way down to the diaphragm. Drop your stomach, just loosen your belly and let it Do that for 10 minutes. Now, I'll tell you something. Breathing is breathing's important. No, but deep nose breathing, deep mindful nose breathing just does so many things around calming everything in your life. It moves you back into that parasympathetic nervous system where we are relaxed and calm and cool and collected, as opposed to the parasympathetic fight or flight, which is where in this day and age we live way too much of our life in fight or flight. We are always in that sympathetic nervous system, which is not good for your health, by the way. By the way, that is not good for your health. Being in the parasympathetic is where you belong. It's the natural state, and nose breathing helps to get you there and bring you there. The last one is something that I think can be problematic for lots and lots of us. It has been an issue in my life on and off over the last many years, but it can be a problem as you get older. For many different reasons. We won't go into the different reasons, but for many, many reasons, sleep can be an issue. And in order to work on these five different things for reversing your DNA clock, 7 hours sleep, 7 hours plus of sleep. Now, we all know people get 4 or 5 hours and they're fine, 3 hours, they're fine, blah, blah. But you know what? Those people are outliers. Those people are not the norm, and most of us are the norm. And so getting that 7 hours of sleep is huge. Now, I won't go into the issues, but I have issues getting to sleep. And I have talked about this before, and I'm going to show you these just because they're important. Every night before I go to bed, I do a full dropper full of 750 milligrams CBD every night. This has helped me dramatically with my sleep. One of the reasons is because it has a huge effect on that parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, the autonomic nervous system. It helps to move you into the parasympathetic and create homeostasis balance. We talk about that all the time with CBD. Its main purpose is creating homeostasis in your body, and that's for literally every system of your body. It creates homeostasis. So this is my CBD is it's only the best that I can find anywhere in the world. And you've heard me talk about this before. Everything I recommend is something that I also distribute, because I only distribute things that I know, like, and trust for their purity and their efficacy. So there's that. But also, when I climb into bed, before I do my gratitude list and my little tiny journal that I do and just kind of the highlights of the day, I also do 8 sublingual sprays of this. It's called Sleep. Couldn't be better named, because that's what it does, folks. Both of these things, by the way, you can't overdose on them. So both of them are things that you can use multiple times. If it takes you a while to get used to, a lot of people don't get immediate results from CBD. Sometimes you need to use it for several days or a week or more. If it helps you get to sleep, but then you wake in the middle of the night, what you can very easily do is take some more. And it does work. It absolutely works. So those are two items for that sleep. So there's your 5 things. Okay. The consumption of fermented foods, the consumption of cruciferous vegetables, 20 minutes plus of walking, 10 minutes of nose breathing, and 7+ hours of sleep per night. These are all things that at some level we've talked about before, but I find it very interesting that, having studied a group of 56 to 72-year-olds, this Journal of Aging came up with these things are all things that people who are living a healthy, vibrant life, they're things they have in common. And people who then adopted them also managed to do that turning back of the DNA clock, if you will. I don't like that expression particularly, but that's how they refer to it, where you literally, you slow down the expression of the DNA that would reflect as aging. If that makes better sense to you. And by the way, this study said that doing those 5 things over the course of 8 weeks will slow down that DNA expression by 3 years, or reverse it by 3 years. That's pretty extraordinary. And again, don't take that as, I'm going to live 3 years longer. No, you're going to live the next many years of your life feeling better, healthier, stronger. Just vibrant living, folks. Vibrant living. That's what that is. I have mentioned before on the show that what we're going to do, we're going to examine other cultures and their relationship to aging. Because as I said at the top of the show, aging is something we all do. Aging is something that's inescapable. Again, you can be anti-aging all you want, but it's like being anti-gravity. Doesn't matter. Still works. It's like being anti the law of attraction. The law of attraction doesn't care if you believe in it or not. It's part of the law of cause and effect, and it just flat out is. Doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. So the idea of aging it's just something that's going to happen. Now, we just talked about ways to slow it down, but we also look at other cultures. In other cultures, the aging process is part of the idea that it is just simply a phenomenon associated with continuing to live. If you continue to live, you're going to age. And in the Indian tradition of Ayurveda, they very much look at it that way. That the truth is that life is not merely to be alive, but it's also to be well. It's to be enjoyed. In some cultures, I've mentioned this before, um in the Hawaiian tradition, and I forgot the word, and the word is somewhere here on my desk, not far from me. But the in the Hawaiian tradition, the elders, the elder members of the tribe or the community are expected to make important decisions for the family and the community. They're not supposed to be put aside on a shelf. So in Ayurveda, it's the same thing. It's supposed to be a portion of life where you promote the quality of life. The Ayurvedic tradition is really about promoting the quality of life. And by the way, I mentioned this earlier in the show. I can see I have a little eye at the top of my screen here. Shows me people are watching. And if you're watching, please comment. Just say hi. I'd love to know you're out there. If you have a comment or a thought about what I'm talking about, or a question, please participate. I love that. In Sanskrit, the word Ayurveda means sacred knowledge. And part of their wording is something called Jara, Jara. And it is aging. And they do not, as I said earlier, they do not consider it an ailment. It's not something to be avoided. It is literally part of that phenomenon associated with continuing to live. I love expressing it that way, knowing that it's about the phenomenon of continuing to live. What they are seeking to achieve is, I'm going to butcher this, I know, Sakayu Verdavasta. Viridavasta. So it's Sakaya Viridavasta, which in English, which is much easier for me, it just means healthy aging, which is what we're talking about all the time. Vibrant living. We're talking about things that contribute to our overall health. And again, we call it vibrant living and vibrant aging, but this is not about being my age. It's not about starting when you're in your 70s, because I didn't start when I was in my 70s. I really started when I was in my late 30s. I really started when I got sober. All right. And I got sober at 37 and a half years old. So I've been sober over 33 years. And that's when I started paying attention to healthy aging. And back then, when I was in my late 30s and early 40s, mid 40s, I didn't think in terms of healthy aging. I just thought in terms of being healthy in the moment. But when you are contributing to living your best, healthiest life right here, right now, however old you are, then as you get older, as you grow older, you will develop habits, or you have developed habits that will continue to keep you healthy and keep you strong. And it's all about habits, guys. It's all about habits. What of your habits are not contributing to a healthy, long life? I'll bet you if you sat down and just said, what exactly am I doing health-wise that is not conducive to living a long, healthy life? I'll bet you come up with 5 things in 30 seconds that each of us are doing. Whether they're the age-old habits of cigarette smoking, God forbid you're not smoking. I mean, every time I see somebody smoking, I'm like, really? In the 21st century? And this is from somebody, I smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day for 23 years, but that was a long time ago. I quit them 30 years ago. Or alcohol, drinking too much alcohol. There's lots of evidence that There's some, because of things like resveratrol and red wine, that there is some benefit to consuming a certain amount of alcoholic beverages. If you can have an alcoholic beverage with dinner or an alcoholic beverage before dinner every single night, fabulous. That was not my paradigm. I was definitely part of that idea that one drink was too many and two was not enough, nor was 10. And so if you can do that, with moderation and get some of the health benefits from that, great. But the other things would be having a sedentary lifestyle, overeating, way too much sugar. This is America, man. If it ain't sweet, we don't eat it. The sugar thing is killing us. It is an absolute direct correlation to the insane elevation of the frequency of type 2 diabetes in this country. And there are dots to be connected from type 2 diabetes to pancreatic cancer. And pancreatic cancer is like through the roof in its occurrence. I know I can think of one person in the last 2 years of my life that died of pancreatic cancer. So those are the things that that are not contributing to a healthy lifestyle. So what can we do? We look at nourish, mindset, fitness, and renewal. And the interesting thing was, if we looked at those 5 things that the Journal of Aging said we should do to stay healthier, they were all about nourish, mindset, fitness, and renewal. Nourishment was about the fermented foods and the broccoli. Mindset, very much to do with the 10 minutes of nose breathing. Fitness, of course, is that 10-minute walk, and renewal, of course, is 7+ hours of sleep. Excuse me. And I apologize. The coughing is. I have a history of post-nasal drip, and that's from a lifestyle on a planet far, far away a long time ago. But that, coupled with the smoke, has really been an interesting issue for me with the smoke from the fires in the West. Back to my story. The nourish, mindset, fitness, and renewal. Those 5 things from the Journal of Aging. Those are all about filling in those blanks, making sure that we're covering those bases, doing things in my life that are healthy, nutritionally, mentally, physically, and renewal. By the way, in renewal, along with sleep, it's meditation. I meditate every day. And I say I meditate every day. Life happens. You skip one here and there, but the bottom line for me is meditation every day is a way of life. It's what it's got to be. And so we're if you focus your attention on the things that you are doing that are not conducive to a long, healthy life in those areas of nourish, mindset, fitness, and renewal, if you find something in each of those, just change the habit. And it's all a habit. And how do you change a habit? You just decide to do something different, and then you repeat it, and you repeat it, and you repeat it until it's your new habit, until it's your new default. You rewire your brain to do the new habit. It becomes, as I said, your default, so that your brain immediately goes to your 10-minute walk as opposed to plunking down on the couch for half an hour. Your 20-minute walk, I'm sorry, as opposed to plunking down on the couch. The other things that when we come into mindset, and also I think this applies to renewal as well, I will also throw in there reading. In my world, in the world that I live in, which is direct selling, network marketing, that's how I make my living. One of the great quotes is, leaders are readers. Well, I believe survivors are readers as well. If you're going to live a long, healthy life, you want to read, and you want to read things that challenge your mind. And if you're a novel reader, that's great. If you get into the story, my wife reads. She's a relatively fast reader. I'm a painfully slow reader. I love to read, but I read so slowly, it's really hard for me sometimes. But I read mostly self-help, enriching, motivational, those kinds of things, metaphysical. I read those. My wife reads novels. Whatever it is, challenge your brain and read things that maybe are different from things that you've done in the past. And also in that same level, learn to say yes to doing things that are different from what you've done up until this particular point in your life. Just learn to do different things. If you learn to do different things, then you are, again, challenging your mind, challenging your brain to do different things, and you're going to wire itself differently, and you're going to just enjoy your life more. And I got firsthand experience with that, with the trip we did to Hawaii a month ago. That I absolutely had the most extraordinary time, and I did some things that were outside the box that I quite honestly wasn't so sure I really even wanted to do. But when I did them, I was just incredibly overjoyed that I did. What else have we got here around the Ayurveda idea? Ayurveda really is about balance. It's about balanced living, and I think those 5 things from the Journal of Aging, are a very simplistic idea of balanced living. And if you stay, if you live your life from that perspective of balance, then you're going to always be in that position, or you're going to be more likely to be in that position of homeostasis. And when you supplement that physical activity with your CBD oil, then you're absolutely going to be finding yourself more and more and more in that homeostatic position where you're relaxed, you're calm, you feel better. All of your systems are relaxed and calm. There is no cortisol and adrenaline pumping through your body all the time, creating stress and oxidative stress on the cells of your body and the systems of your body, so that you literally are firing those genes more rapidly in the fashion of aging. You are expressing genetically the aging of your body and your life, as we talked about at the very, very beginning of this entire thing from the study from the Journal of Aging. Pretty cool, I think. Um, the other One of the things that I'm delving into right now with the people that I work with. I'm part of an extraordinary team of people that are very, very heart-centered human beings that are really moving in the direction of trying to benefit the world, trying to be a beneficial presence, having your business be a beneficial presence so that you are helping other people live their best lives and showing them a way to for them to help other people to live their best lives, all while you are enjoying the benefits of making a living doing it. It's the greatest thing I've ever been involved in. I'm really just now starting to build my team, a bigger team of people to do this, to grow our sense of being a beneficial presence and help others to do the same. And one of the things that we really focused on is gratitude. I have been in the habit for the first half of this year, and I've been very bad the last few months, but I never missed a day, or I only missed 2 days in the first half of the year. Every single night, I wrote down at least 3 things I was grateful for, and then I did my little journal I told you about. It's this little book here, this little pink book. I hope you can see that it's pink. I get a lot of crap for the fact that pink is my favorite color. Go figure. I don't know. Pink and purple are my 2 favorite colors, but so I wrote in that. Now, I haven't done it in the last couple of months, and that's coming back as of today, actually. But an additional thing that's coming into play here is going to do every morning after my meditation, or as part of my meditation, my daily spiritual practice, my DSP. As part of that, I'm going to write down 10 things I'm grateful for. 10 things, people, situations, expectancies. There's a big piece. This is something that we're delving into, and it's really fascinating me that this team I'm a part of, there aren't the only recognized metaphysicians on this team are my team. I have 2 fellow practitioners on my team, practitioners with the Centers for Spiritual Living, and these where the 3 of us are fascinated by the metaphysical expression of our teammates, even though none of them particularly identifies as a metaphysician. One of them I expressed to her the fact that she's an incredible metaphysician, and she said, "I love that term." I think it was the first time she ever heard it, but she loved being described as a metaphysician. But the thing we're looking at is some things that I think are fundamental, that I have literally, I don't want to say I've forgotten about them. I've just kind of put them aside. And it's the ideas of visualizing and feeling the visualization. In his great book, The Science of Mind, Dr. Ernest Holmes talks about the idea that all of the work of a practitioner, any practitioner of metaphysics, not just someone who studied it like me, but any practitioner of metaphysics, all of the work that they do is in their own mind. You are literally flexing, focusing, adjusting, evolving my own consciousness for the purposes of raising consciousness. So the idea is that we use every tool we can possibly bring on board to use. And there have been lots of things I have learned over the years that I have just simply let pass by. And visualization is one of them. And I used to teach in my workshop. Years ago, I taught a workshop called Rewire Your Brain. And one of the things I taught was that you want to picture what it is you absolutely want in your life, what you want to materialize, what you want to manifest, what you want to be your reality, your fondest desires. Don't care what they are, but you want to have the picture of them in your mind. And then you want to feel the joy of their manifestation in your life. You want to feel what it will be like when that house, your dream house, arrives, when that car that you've always wanted arrives, when that perfect relationship all of a sudden manifests itself in your life, when that job promotion goes, I don't care what it is. Visualize it and feel the joy of its manifestation. But in the process of doing that, I always like to think about engaging the five senses. I used to have a picture in my mind of this beautiful log cabin in the woods. And it wasn't so much a cabin as it was a log home, but and it was on a lake. And I used to go through in my mind, I used to visualize what it looked like, but then I would also visualize how it sounded and what it smelled like in that area. And what did it taste like? Think about that. I mean, everywhere you go, there's actually a taste to everything. There's a taste, the air right now tastes like smoke. I mean, so there's an idea, okay? And what does it feel like to the touch? So that you engage all five of your senses into this visualization that you have conjured up in your mind. And again, really, truly feel the sense of elation, the sense of gratitude, the sense of fulfillment for its manifestation. Now, in my world, I refer to that as expectancy. It's not expectation. Expectation is really setting ourselves up almost for disappointment. We're expecting a particular thing to happen. No, expectancy is the unfoldment of the good that I am picturing, the unfoldment of the good that I desire. That's expectancy. And to live your life from that point of view and be grateful for all of that, that may be the key to manifestation. That may be the key to realizing everything it is in your world that you truly want to be your experience, your reality. So there's that little piece there. And again, to repeat the, fascinating to hear the people in my business team, the leaders of this business team, expressing these thoughts without identifying as metaphysicians, but it's all metaphysical thought. So a couple of things that I had a conversation earlier today with one of those two people that's on my team, and I really wanted to just get across with something he and I talked about. And my beloved Lisa she's watching the show. She said, "Thank you for reminding me about igniting my five senses in visualizations. It's usually important. It's something. Listen, guys, I taught this, and I have stopped doing it until today. This morning in my meditation, I absolutely did that. So, With my team member today. Hi, Cheryl. My team member today, Josh. He and I were talking about we were talking about the expressions last night in our team call around the metaphysical points of view, and it just kind of blended into he's working with another metaphysician to start a book club. And they were talking about different books, and it was really funny because the books I mentioned to him were like some books that had really come up in their conversation. But two books I want, if you're interested in the idea of visualization and taking it a step further, Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith has the concept of visioning. Vision So I don't know if I'm back or not back. If you're watching the show, maybe you would let me know that I am back. Don't know what happened there. Something froze up. Something went wrong, and it seems like I'm a little out of sync here with my voice as well. So if you're out there, if you're watching the show, Lisa says I am back. Okay, great. I'm back, and I forgot what the heck I was talking about because because of the internet glitch or whatever that was. It froze me up. But the idea of, oh, I know, I was talking about my conversation with my friend Josh. And if you're interested in the visualization and the visioning kind of things, Michael Bernard Beckwith wrote a book back in 2008, I think it was. It's called Spiritual Liberation. In there, I believe he goes into visioning, which again is his construct. And it's a great way to just kind of, you can do it by yourself, you can do it with other people. But you can really get an idea. You can call forth your own intuition exactly on what it is you're looking to experience in your life and how you need to act in order to manifest what it is that you're looking for. The other book is kind of, to me, it's the original book, and I don't know of anything that came before this, but it's by a woman named Shakti Gawain, who just passed away not too many years ago. Shakti is Shakti Gawain, Gawain. The book is Creative Visualization. really explains the process to you of how it all goes down, how it all happens. So a great thing to take a look at. And you know what? And that's pretty much the ideas that I had for you today. I want to touch some bases here so that you know what to do. If you want to touch base with my beloved Lisa and I on our branded Facebook page, Vibrant Aging. Of course, vibrant living and vibrant aging go hand in hand, and that's exactly what we are looking to accomplish here. So go visit us there. If you have questions, thoughts, ideas, if you want to just see what we're posting on there, that page is going to grow and grow and grow as time goes by. If you would like to reach me, please go to this email address that's down here below, teamrockitnow@gmail.com. And glad to converse with you about anything, anytime, or in that realm. And please, New Thought Media Network is a nonprofit organization. We live and breathe on your donations. So if you would go to ntmedia.org and click on donate, we are thrilled with whatever your contribution might be. And I would thank you from the bottom of my heart for whatever you would contribute to us and to what we're doing. So the other things I just wanted to mention these to you because I use these things. I talked to you about products that I use, and I also guarantee you that everything I use is going to be something that I will distribute and I will stand behind it 100%. Everything I use, every product that I represent, if it doesn't come with a 60-day money-back guarantee, I don't use it. So that's how, that's the confidence that we have in the products. This one is called Boost. It's one of those things, man. This is another sublingual spray. It works. You need a boost of energy in the afternoon. This is not like a caffeine buzz. This is not a flashing crash. This is just a gentle lifting of your spirits and energy level. I find it amazing. And the other one is Trim 365. We have a woman on our team who has used this sublingual spray, Trim 365, to lose over 35 pounds. It took her a while, but this stuff helps to not only prevent the creation of fat cells because its main ingredient is too funny. I know the name of this main ingredient like I know my own name, and it just went out of my head. Garcinia cambogia. There you go. I remember. It helps to prevent the production of fat cells, but I can literally feel that this is helping me to suppress my appetite. So these are two things, just for your knowledge. Boost and Trim 365, they go along with the sleep spray. And actually, you can get all three of them in a package for a discounted price. But it's not about selling you those things. It's about knowing that I walk my talk. I have products that I use that help me to stay vibrant and young. I actually had a younger guy today that I talked to for the very first time, only knows me from Zoom. He says, "Wow, you're 70? You look much younger than that." Part of that is good genetics. I'll grant that, but it's also about taking care of myself. So although the products that I recommend here on the show are all things that I use and that I distribute. And again, nothing with less than a 60-day money-back guarantee. Just so you're aware of those things, because it's important to me that I'm using these things to help me stay young and vibrant. There are no secrets. I don't want to, whatever I use, whatever I have available to me, you will have available to you as well, so that we can all grow old, live healthier, longer, better, for however many years we can put in here. It's not, it's not the length of your life. It's the life in your years that matters. So then that's part of what I'm all about and what vibrant living is all about. Coming to the end here, I really am out of things to talk about today. If you've got any thoughts, if you got any questions there, you folks on the chat, got anything on your mind, I'd love to hear from you. Cheryl just said she loves the Trim 365, this sublingual spray. Fabulous stuff. And it works. Like all of them, it works. And I can sound like a broken record. I wouldn't be promoting it if it didn't work. That's how I know it's good stuff, because it works for me. So that's pretty much what we've got for you today. Again, go to newthoughtmedia.org and click on donate. ntmedia.org. Click on donate. we'll be thrilled to have whatever your little heart desires in the way of a contribution to continue to watch us grow. By the way, you're going to see New Thought Media is going to expand into actual music. We're going to have a music station. I may do a show myself. I'm thinking about doing a show that would tie together rock and roll music and metaphysics. We'll see how that works. There's lots of great songs out there that tie into metaphysical thought that were, I don't know, it almost seems like in some instances that the 60s were part of the birth, if you will, of metaphysical thought in my generation. So anyway, that's it for today. As always, I am immensely grateful for the great gift of your time and your attention. And I wish you all the love and all the blessings that the universe has to offer. And until the next time, which I hope you will join me next Thursday at 3 o'clock Mountain Time, 5 o'clock Eastern Time, namaste, my friends.